What you was doing a while ago?
It messed up.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think.
Come on. You good now?
Welcome to the Chop Shop, guys. Your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. Yours truly, Jim Hicks, the hat alongside Hatter and the hater, Chris Walker himself, is on location on the East Coast. And man, first of all, let's get right into it. NFL, and we'll go with the most recent because the last tends to linger the longest. And the Sunday night game, right? New England and Baltimore, for which Baltimore pulled off the 17-point win. In doing so, it looks like we have a new Patrick Mahomes. You know, he's resting right now. We're not going to dethrone him yet. But boy, this young kid from Baltimore is showing up again in the big game. I mean, I'm speechless. I know you guys, and what we'll do is, as we do, first of all, in that particular game last week, Hatter, you took Baltimore, right?
Uh-huh.
And 3.5 points against Chris Walker.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
How you feel about that?
Hey man, I'm not gonna be my dude right now because I don't know about. I haven't looked at the
outcomes. He didn't win. That's why we need to talk about. But first of all, Hatter, I don't know why we even going into all of this. The first thing we need to do, we need to show that video of Jimmy dancing on Facebook.
I can't
we
show
need
it, Chris.
to show that dance.
I can't show it today, Chris.
You can't show it?
I can't show it.
Oh, my goodness, you can show it. You need to show Jimmy dancing at his party.
All they got to do is go on social media. Wait a minute, hold on, stop. Happy birthday, Jimmy, man. You know, you're so disrespectful. Happy birthday, Jimmy, man. I know he had a great time yesterday, and the man was trying to come on here and do a show, and Chris always got to do something and throw it off. So
what I do?
Talking about Jimmy and that dance. I'm going to get Jimmy tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness.
Hey, by tomorrow, they will see that dance on this show tomorrow. Don't
they got to see it.
Okay.
They got to see it.
And hey, I'm going to tell you something. Of course, the birthday weekend is concluded. Now it's time to get focused on the high school season. And of course, we'll talk a lot more about high school season. We had one of the top recruits in the country. He committed to a college this morning, and we're going to talk about that and maybe even join. Well, we'll do that tomorrow. We'll push that on back to tomorrow. That way, make sure that we have the right connect for him. But meanwhile, as I mentioned earlier, Baltimore Ravens 37-20 over the New England Patriots, and you know, I was going to get your guys.
Best running quarterback in the game. That's all I got to say.
I mean, hey, you know what? And Chris, and I heard some commentary before that game, right? You know, first of all, I love Tom Brady. I love everything, but I heard some stuff before the game that, and we'll watch how it plays out, Jimmy. But they was talking about how Belichick was gonna not try to lose this game, but be as vanilla as possible. And I'm just telling you that was the narrative, Chris Walker. In other words, I might play these guys in the playoffs where it count. I'm not about to show these guys everything I know. Chris, I mean, you being a coach, I know you had to get every win you can get. You couldn't afford no luxury like that. But is it a thing?
No, it's not a thing.
It's not a thing? Okay, that's why you're not a Hall of Fame coach. Okay.
Just like it wasn't a thing when I was sitting in the Barclays Center and the Nets tore off your boy's head and they looked like they were partying too much the night before on Halloween. Absolutely. And listen, I don't want to change the subject. I don't know if D'Antoni gonna make it through the year, man. Hatter, I don't know. We can come back to it, but what happened in Miami the next 2 days, I don't know if you're gonna make it through the year, man.
Well, let's see first, and let's run through roll call.
Yeah, let's run through. Let's get these picks out the way. Can we go and see who won or not, Jimmy?
Yeah, let's see who won tonight. Of course, on that first one, 37-20, Baltimore had you had Baltimore and
Yeah.
3.5 points.
Okay, that's one for Hatter.
Okay, next up, Cleveland and Denver. Of course, the Cleveland Browns fall 24-19 to the Broncos.
The Cleveland cleats. The Cleveland cleats, you mean, when they got to go over and take their cleats off at halftime? What's up with that, man?
24-19, and all the things that are going on, and still.
Who won that, Jim?
Who between on your picks?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm trying to worry about these picks.
How you had Cleveland?
And how many points?
How do you lost? What you talking about?
But how many
You
points?
gave up 3. You gave up 3.
I gave up 3. Okay,
Yeah.
Chris. Okay, Chris got one. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so next up was the Green Bay Packers and the Chargers.
Wow.
That was a really shocking win. It was I guess a gut check for the Packers as they fell 26-11. In that particular game, you had the Chargers and 3.5. How do you pick up the win?
Lucky.
Next up, the Detroit Lions and Detroit Lions fall to the Oakland Raiders 31-24. And in that particular game, you had Oakland and you gave up 2.
I still win.
So that means you pick up the win with the 7-point victory. Next up, Tampa Bay and Seattle.
Crab legs is done, man. Crab legs done.
Overtime. King Crab Leg and Sierra's man. I mean, 40-24. What can you say? I mean, Seattle prevails in overtime.
Who I have, Jimmy? Who I have on now?
Guess what? You had Tampa Bay.
No, I didn't.
And 6.5.
Wow.
A half point. You win that game. Next up, Tennessee and Carolina. Right? The Titans fall 30-20 to the Panthers. In that game, Chris Walker, you had Tennessee and 3.5. That wasn't enough, Chris.
Man, listen, tight britches is done. That's all I got to say.
Next up, you had Pittsburgh Steelers and the Colts, and the Steelers won 26-24, and that was a pick 'em.
And Vinatieri missed another freaking field goal.
Did I win that one too, Jimmy?
You won that one too.
Boy, I'm over this boy like he stole something from. I don't.
Man, listen, man. Guess what? Hey, Jimmy, guess what Odyssey Williams had the nerve to say?
What Odyssey say?
Chris had need to say, I can do all things except pick NFL teams to win.
I love Odyssey. Man.
Hey, say, wait a minute.
Wow.
Now, Odyssey, how about Chicago Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles? And in that particular game, the Eagles won 22-14. And Chris, you had Chicago and 5 points. That wasn't enough, Chris. Good gracious, Chris. Are you gonna win a game? Next up,
weekend, man.
Bring on Jimmy.
Kansas City, the Chiefs prevail in a late fourth quarter victory over the Minnesota Vikings 26-23. And that was a pick 'em. How do you pick Kansas City? You win that one.
Chris
Next
won
up,
that
the
one.
Washington Redskins lose to the Buffalo Bills 24-9.
Terrible.
You had Washington and 9.5. So Chris Walker, you win that one.
About time.
Chris won it.
How about the Jets? The Jets in Miami. The Dolphins pick up their first win of the season, 26-18 over the Jets. And in that one, Chris, you had the Jets and you gave up 3. Wow. You lost
that
looking like.
Chris, how do you won that one?
He done got skunked. There ain't no way he can catch up.
I bet. Hey, you know what? I know one thing. He didn't want to pick that game tonight.
Hey,
how about that?
Hey, titty cup. Chris, give up.
Pick that game tonight. Let's do that. How about that?
We can pick.
Houston, the Texans 26-3 over the Jaguars. How do you had the Texans and you gave up 1, and Chris, you lost another one. This might be a record. And
No. I was saving it because you know what? I was saving it for the night because we going all in tonight, man.
How you think we going all in?
Putting all my chips to the center of the table tonight. My chips to the center of the table.
Hey, Chris, did you see what Todd Holmes said? He said, I ran a Boston on you.
Hey,
he got all the books. He got a handful of Trump on Chris.
Oh.
I just told y'all, I'm pushing all my chips to the center of the table tonight.
Hey, y'all.
Cowboys, Giants.
Hey, Chris, you know what I want to remind everybody, okay? You know, Robert Hatter was down. I didn't have a win. They talked about, Jimmy talked about, hey, we're going to disqualify you. You don't get a win. I mean, they was talking about everything about me, right? So guess what? Then I thought about those Washington Nationals. 19-31. The bullpen was terrible. And Bryce Harper had left. And all of that. And then here comes Rendon and Soto. And that's all I'm doing to y'all right now. Jimmy, I'm walking you down, boy. I'm walking you down right now.
Put something on the game tonight, player.
I'm not. Hey,
put some real money on the game. Let's stop this monopoly stuff and put something real down.
Hey, Jimmy, what's the spread? Jimmy, what's the spread tonight?
You know, it's the spread of an update. It's 7. Dallas has been 7.
So he gonna give me 7.
I'll give you 7 on the road, and we got the blue jerseys on tonight.
Hey, man, I'm on the way. I'm like Jimmy. I'm on the way to the store to spend some thousands in a few minutes, right? Hey, so guess what? Make it light on yourself. I might as well spend another one. Make it light on yourself, Chris.
Hey, man, like I said, bring it on.
Hey, all I can tell you, Jimmy has so much liquor. You know what? I got a bone
wait
to
till they
pick.
see the dance. Wait till they see the dance.
No. Tomorrow. You know I got a bone to pick. You know what? I got a bone to pick with you drinkers. Okay? I don't bother y'all and tell y'all not to drink. So why the hell y'all bother me to tell me, man, take a shot. I mean, somebody help me. Give me a non-drinker on the feed. Somebody explain to me why I ain't never, me and Jimmy go somewhere, I ain't never said, Jimmy, you shouldn't get that. You shouldn't get that drink. Chris, you shouldn't drink that drink. You shouldn't drink that margarita. Chris, hey, y'all, watch my hand. Chris be having some margaritas. I hope y'all can see my hand. And a bowl this big.
Man, please.
Then he be talking about put some more stuff in it. You know, a grand margarita, or whatever he be doing. So.
Listen, man.
Help me.
Listen, man. You drink that champagne, though. You drink that champagne.
You know, I like the finer things in life. Yes, I like Veuve Clicquot, rosé.
Listen, man. Why they mess with OBJ and Jarvis Landry, man? They can't wear their sneakers. Hatter, why can't they wear their cleats, man? I guarantee if they had some honoring the national anthem or some troops over in Afghanistan, they wouldn't stop them from wearing.
Chris, it's called a collective bargaining agreement and a code of dress on the field. That's what it's called. It's written, Chris, in writing. I know you don't like to write, but it's written that you can't do those things. And them guys know it. They just try to push the envelope. Those guys know what they're doing, Chris. Them two right there, they sit there and say, man, we getting now behind. Well, see that, y'all? I didn't say the bad word. Somebody told me I'm saying too many bad words.
No. They started the game with those. They took them off at halftime.
Yeah, they told them at halftime. The official said, "Hey man, okay, let them play. I ain't gonna start no stuff right now. I don't want to stop their momentum or whatever. At halftime, man, change your stuff, man. Yeah, change your stuff. That's a no-brainer, Chris. Hey, Chris, you explain to me how these people are treating the NFL, or the NFL teams are treating guys like Trent Williams, and the kid that had cancer, and they didn't nobody come to see him in Chicago. If you want to talk about the NFL, let's talk about the Jets, who the kid had a shoulder injury, and the Jets said, no, we just signed you. You got to play. He said, no, I'm about to go get a shoulder surgery. He go get shoulder surgery, and they cut it. And you always whining about stuff, Chris, all the time. Jalen Ramsey, he never did nothing like that. But you came on in and have a 20-minute rant about Jalen Ramsey and his man, he shouldn't have did that. Man, that's why these guys, when you're in a position of power, Chris, you got to exercise your leverage.
What's the NFL stand for? Not for long.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's what it stands for.
Yes, sir.
So you always tell me that the owners got all the power.
Yes, sir.
They're exercising their power is all they're doing. So if the players want to do something about it, tell them to get together and do something about it. Because we know the football player union is the worst on the planet. It's a team of Martians. They got a better players union than the football team, than the NFL football players union. You know that, and I know that. Please,
Jimmy.
Now speaking of the Cleveland Browns, how about shortly after the game, Jermaine Whitehead,
social media,
the safety went on social media and lashed out at fans and former NFL player who's a commentator on one of the networks on the and I'm gonna quote you some of the stuff. It resulted in Twitter suspended his account.
Yes.
When he woke up this morning, he had they called him and told him to bring in his playbook, and he's been fired from the Cleveland Browns as a result. And once again, I read some of the comments, and this is what some of the stuff that Whitehead wrote in response to people criticizing him shortly after being ran over by Noah Fant and en route to a 75-yard touchdown. And so Whitehead says, "Come get it in blood, B-I-T-C-H, made ass little boy. I'm out here with a broke hand. Don't get smoked." Right? Then he goes on to say, "I'm going to kill you, B-I-T-C-H. That's on blood." To another.
He tripping, man.
So these are gang affiliated or insinuated tweets, racial. He made some racial insinuating tweets. And also these are when you it just wasn't
terroristic streets.
It wasn't nothing good about it at all. Then he comes back with his apology. And this is the thing, I love apologies, y'all. Apologies is funny as hell because a lot of the times, they're basically an attempt to save your job, but the apology your job was already gone before you woke up this morning. So here's an apology. Crazy world. They line it up and they say anything in the book to you. Right? Mm-hmm. They tell you to take the high road when your whole life you was taught to meet fire with fire. Mm-hmm. I do apologize for my performance, but having a broke hand and a strong fear of letting my team down is my downfall. Whatever happens, happens. Ain't tripping. They probably gonna still talk crazy, but this is me getting smoke off my chest. I don't need one like just from me to me. Keep your head up, homie. Can't nobody F with you. I dare him to try. Meaning he didn't need one of those comments like that coming in. He wanted to be real, and he was trying to keep it real. This is when keeping it too real goes too real wrong. Remember,
Jimmy, I thought it was freedom of speech. I thought y'all said it's freedom of speech.
That's what LeBron told you. He said sometimes it can hurt you. That's all LeBron was saying. People jump on LeBron. Mm-hmm. But as David Chappelle, so when keeping it real goes wrong.
And that's exactly what happened. The thing is, it comes with consequence. And my thing, like you just saying, whatever happens, happens. So if you're saying whatever happens, happens, that means you understand it. You understand it. And this apology, you understand. Okay, whatever y'all gonna do, just do it. I said my piece. Guess what? What that says to me, the Cleveland Browns are what? What are they, 2-6 right now?
Yeah. 2 and something. Two and too much. They 2 and too much. That's what they are.
So remember now, a lot of money flowed on the quarterback Baker Mayfield to win the MVP this year.
From who?
No, a lot of the money was laid on him. Go look it up online. He was, understand, that doesn't mean he was the favorite, but they took that bet.
They took a
that
bet.
Mean money,
Okay.
That means a lot of money went toward, people felt a lot of money in the
Sucker bet.
Remember now, a lot of people, few people, picked that Cleveland. This will be a breakout year. Remember now, this same Cleveland Brown team, don't they get the former kid from the Kansas City Chiefs next week? And he threw serving his suspension. One of the guys that was suspended, right?
Oh yeah, Hunt. What is
Hunt?
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt.
So remember now, this team was projected. They get Odell Beckham, right? They got new juice. They got a reinvigorated Baker Mayfield, and a smack or more. And people like, he's okay when he talked to smack, but now he's not backing it up. And it's funny as hell because people, that's how you got to pay attention. A lot of the stories. How many stories or headlines do you see the blame going on Baker? How many people questioning?
The experts are definitely saying he's terrible.
They say he's terrible now.
The experts are killing him. No, they killing him.
Especially your homeboy, the big coach who get cut, the big coach who keep getting fired. I got a brother.
Rex Ryan.
Yeah, Rex Ryan.
Rex Ryan. Yeah, he's killing.
He tears his head off. But
I mean, you have to realize they were playing. Denver had only won 2 games before they played this team before they played Cleveland yesterday. And I'm looking at Baker's numbers: 27 for 42, 273 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a 39.9 QBR.
How many interceptions?
No interception. Okay. But
that's what happened. You get all those commercials and you haven't proved anything. When you haven't proved anything.
National commercial.
But why does Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes got the commercial with Aaron Rodgers?
Come on, man.
With Aaron Rodgers.
Come on, man.
And listen, you got a dude who's the MVP. What has Baker Mayfield done?
He ran from the police. He ran from the police.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out what he did because
I just said, Chris, he ran from the police.
What do you mean?
Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that video? You've never seen that video. Chris Walker, do yourself a favor and Google Baker Mayfield running from the police.
But he got commercials though.
Yeah.
But he got commercials. Come on, man.
Man,
whatever,
but
man.
Jimmy, you know what else? You know what else I saw? I saw something yesterday that amazed me too. Watching the Chiefs game. Did you see what Tyreek Hill did? Tyreek Hill, his partner, Damon Williams, had broke through the line and was running for a 91-yard TD, right? Tyreek Hill was about 20 to 30 yards behind him and caught up with him, running and caught up with him. And guess what he said? He said, yeah, in practice, he always talking about he can beat me. I just wanted to prove that I can beat him. Jimmy, y'all got this. Unbelievable. I would have had that video.
I saw it.
Unbelievable. And then
I understand he walked him down now.
Walked him clean down. And then I got another one. Did y'all know that the Seattle Seahawks were doing their due diligence, Chris and Jimmy, on Antonio Brown before claiming Josh Gordon on waivers?
No, don't worry. Josh Gordon gonna be gone. They're gonna get Antonio Brown. Trust me on that. The question is, Hatter, and maybe you can find out through your traps, why did the Patriots let Josh Gordon go?
Oh, they were just tired.
That's being held close to the wraps.
Yeah,
that's being held very close to the wraps.
Chris, I mean, what you said, Jimmy, what's your key thing you said a long time ago about your production versus your production versus your tolerance? What is your saying?
Production and tolerance.
Yeah.
When the talent is great, it's no longer greater than the problem.
It's greater than the problem.
You become expendable.
Yes.
And that's what happens in life. But the way that this Josh Gordon thing went down in New England, it went down really calm. It was like, bam, and for that to happen, something obviously happened in the New England Patriots camp with Gordon, and it couldn't have been a failed drug test because he would have automatically been banned for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't it, but it may have been something that he may have been required to do that he probably did not fulfill as part of the stipulations that were placed in-house on him.
Yeah.
Trust me, it will come out.
It was a team
It will come out.
Sometimes, it's hard to come out of that program. They be a little tight-lipped around there. When some come out of that program, you got to pull. You got to be working to get it out of there. Bill Belichick don't play that. But
it's gonna come out though.
Okay.
So now, of course, what you had?
No, I'm good. Now,
also looking on in the rims that's taking place this weekend, it's hard to ignore. Last week, Hal, I asked you, I said, what would constitute a good road trip for the Houston Rockets? You said you projected on the 4-game road trip, 3-1 is that's the cutoff. Well, with one game left, they will play Memphis tonight, and the Rockets have lost 2 of the 3 games on the road trip, and with the first win being that 159-158 victory in game 1 where James Harden scored the 59 points. So now, Houston Rockets are 3-3. 3-3. Russell Westbrook is not going to play tonight, if I'm not mistaken, for load management.
Come on, man.
I mean,
if I hear those 2 words together one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind, man.
But on yesterday, the Rockets played the Miami Heat, and a lot of people may have been watching NFL games. But at one point, guys, of this game, the score was 70-29. I say that again. At one point, the score was 70-29.
I got a better question for you. Who is on the Miami Heat?
Jimmy Butler.
Really? B-list celebrity. So what I'm saying is B-list celebrity.
Jimmy so Butler, I mean, he's legit now.
He B-list. We let him in the club. We make him wait a few minutes, but he'll get in before everybody else. But he's not walking in VIP.
Buy one bottle, get one free.
Buy one bottle, get one free.
I tell you what, evidently who's on the team, evidently they were smart enough to get their rest before the game. And that's all I can tell you about that situations. The Rockets are not that bad of a team, but they were in New York in the wee hours in the morning celebrating. They were in Miami in the wee hours in the morning. And all I've said, and I've been saying this ever since they signed him, what the hell is Clint Capella doing in the NBA? I'm just telling you, him and this boy. Of course, James. James is the leader. Yes. Flatfoot terrible.
What?
Flatfoot was terrible. James, and y'all ain't never heard this come out of my mouth. Flatfoot terrible. And I just didn't think he had no energy, no legs, no nothing. I mean, it seemed like he was like, man, I just woke up.
For real?
I just laid down and I just woke up. That's how he played. I had to turn it. I didn't even want to see it. I had to turn it off. And this Gordon dude that they just gave this money to.
Too many sandwiches. He need to drop by 20.
Oh boy, let me tell you something, man. Hey, and we talking about D'Antoni. He might not make it. You know he don't have he a lame duck coach, Jimmy. You don't have but a 1 year deal right now. So, yeah. I mean, I don't even want to talk about them.
It was embarrassing. For a team that's saying that we need to make a stance, we're trying to win a championship, it is absolutely unacceptable. You got 2 MVPs. Guys, I went to the Brooklyn Nets game, and I'm watching the bench. Obviously, I turned my coaching antennas on. I'm watching Russell Westbrook's mannerisms. No one can tell me that Russell wants to be here. I'm sorry. You can't tell me the way he's acting.
You got to be out your rap. Russell Westbrook just does that. Dude,
can I make my point?
No. Do me a favor.
Can I make my point?
Go back and watch. If that's your first game you ever seen Russ, I've seen him play a million times.
I saw him play in Houston.
He act like that all the time.
I saw him playing Houston with the Rockets. I'm talking about with the Rockets. You can talk. He
That
He
don't
never
mean
had
I
to worry
want to
about
be
that.
here.
He never had to worry about that when Durant left.
Chris,
He
that
never
don't
had to
mean you
worry
don't
about
want
that
to
when
be
Durant
there.
left. Listen, man, I'm just telling you what I see.
Okay.
Tell you what I see.
Yeah.
I'm telling you about the mannerisms. Because he's watching that going like, man, look at this dude, man. You can't have it. There's no way if you got any type of pride, you can watch what's going on with the Rockets and think that's acceptable for professional players. I'm sorry, man. It's no way you can have a team
And them
and
players
win
used
at
to
that
look
level.
at you that way, Chris, but you still stayed on
Nah,
the team.
nah.
Them guys
Ain't
at Villanova
ain't
used to
nobody
look
looked
at
at me
you
that
like
way. They may have been sorry as hell, but they ain't look at me that way.
they
You
said.
crazy.
Oh no, they said this little midget shooting 20 times, shooting 23s in a game. He got a record for shooting 23s and hit with one or two up. You know,
Whatever. You can say whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. But as Birdman say, put some spec on my name.
Hey, Chris, you are absolutely right. I would be looking at you crazy. You're right. You're right. I apologize. You're right.
Then you know what I do? Then I pull my resume out right there and be like, hey, listen here, homeboy. Listen here, homeboy. But Jimmy, my point is, Jimmy, seriously, even though we all Houstonians, come on, man. Listen, if y'all know I love LeBron, and he's got 2 triple-doubles, by the way, in the last 2 games. Just throw that out there. But I'm saying that if LeBron was playing that way, I'd be going at his head too. I'd be going at that hairline too if he played that way. That's all I'm saying. Unbelievable, man. But this wouldn't happen with LeBron. I'm just telling you, man. It's unacceptable.
Watch me, Jimmy.
Say, let me tell you, man, this Rockets. I'm gonna tell you why I'm concerned, and I was concerned before losing the last 2 games in a row, and more so the opponents. They lost to Brooklyn and Miami, and the way of which they lost to Miami yesterday was a total give up moment. That was a game we should have all heard that the Rockets held a players only meeting or something shortly after that Miami game. That should have been mandatory for somebody to step up. Eric Gordon, you mentioned him a while ago, Howard. Let me give you something about Eric Gordon. Before this game, D'Antoni called himself injecting a little more fizz into the Rockets because he decided to insert Eric Gordon into the starting lineup for Daniel House, right? You know, which Eric Gordon started some games last year, so it's nothing new. But here's the thing about Gordon. In the last 2 games, he's played 52 minutes. 52 minutes, and he's missed all 10 of his last 3-point attempts over the past 2 games. He's played 52 minutes. Let me say it again. And he's missed all 10 3-point attempts, and he's resulted in single digits each of the past 2 games in a 52-minute combined span. I think it was 23 minutes one game, 29 minutes the other game. Let me tell you something. Eric Gordon, he must show up.
He was a sandwich away from 270. I'm telling you. He's a sandwich away, Hatter. He shouldn't look that way, man, playing in the league, man.
Russell Westbrook was 1 for 6 from 3-point land on yesterday in the loss against the Miami Heat. Mind you, Justice Winslow, albeit he's off to one of his best starts of his career. So that doesn't, but for Miami, he didn't even play. He missed the last 2 games he has lower back stiffness and which he's dealt with off and on for the past couple of years. But Russell Westbrook, he don't
fit, man. He don't fit, man.
Does it look like he's trying? It is too transparent that he's trying to defer too much, and he's trying. It
look like a pickup game. I'm telling you, listen, man. I'm a James Harden fan.
I'm not talking about their play.
I'm a James Harden fan.
Chris, it has nothing to do with their play. Jimmy, those guys can play together. These some basketball savants you right here talking about, Mr. College Coach. Those are basketball savants you're talking about. But if you, Chris Walker, stay your butt up all night in New Jersey and got all this crap coming out your pores, Jim Hicks, Jimmy, stuff might happen. Chris, I mean, think about it, Jimmy. You cannot do. We are hearing rumors in New York. I'm hearing rumors in Miami that these guys out in them streets, man. And you know, I try to take up for them and take up for them and take up for them. What that looked like to me, like, man, this wasn't a business trip. This was a road trip. There was a road trip. It ain't got nothing to do with their talent. Those some talented guys.
I'm not Hatter. I'm not saying that. Here's my point, Hatter. Here's my point. I watch these guys. I don't think they mesh, man. See, the thing about, and again, I'm not trying to bring up the Lakers and all that.
Give me a reason why.
Give me a reason why. And we're going to see. Hold on.
Why you say they don't mesh?
We're going to see. Let me tell you this. Hold on. And we're going to see when Paul George comes back what the Clippers look like, because they're similar players.
Quit jumping.
Let me finish. Let me finish. You won't let me talk. Hold up. I'm going to do like you. Hold up. The Lakers, think about it. LeBron and AD play different positions. One's inside, one's outside. Magic and Kareem. I'm just telling you. When LeBron was playing with Flash, it didn't work out as well for Flash. I think Russell it's just what I think. I think KD and Kyrie worked out great. I think Kyrie and LeBron worked out great. I think they're similar type players. And I think that's why it's going to be a problem. I could be wrong, but it's they just throw the ball at each other and say, your turn. Okay, your turn. Okay, your turn. That's not going to work, man.
Hold up. I think Jerry West and Gail Goodrich played well together.
And never won Jack.
Okay, can I gave you gave your analogy.
My bad, you're right. My bad.
I think Walt Clyde Frazier. I think Earl Monroe, they said they couldn't play together. They won a championship. I think I got another one. Joe Dumars. They said him and Isaiah Thomas couldn't coexist. They won 2 championships. This stuff takes time, man.
Hatter.
LeBron
you're talking about the freaking Pistons that had a whole bunch of other people. They didn't have Clint Capella.
LeBron James came into the Lakers last year, right, Jimmy? And they were a hot mess the whole year long with LeBron James.
That's not true.
They was okay until he got hurt.
They'd have made the playoffs if he didn't get hurt, Hatter. Come on, Hatter. Be fair. I'm not saying the Rockets aren't going to win. All I'm saying is, watching it live, I'm like, ooh, I put like this here. How is this going to work? And the other question is D'Antoni the guy to make it work? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that they can't win. They still have a lot of talent. What are you saying?
That ain't what you said. You said,
well, okay, I'm saying it now then.
Russell don't want to be here.
I don't think he wants to be there. Listen, man, I don't see it working.
Okay. All right.
I don't see it working.
Yeah, Benny Microwave. I mean, yeah, you can work with guards. But to please explain me Capella.
He's a bum.
Okay.
He's a bum. If I had any type of hops, I can do what he does. He has no skill. You can put any dude in there. Think about it. I was saying before, the African Renaissance, Jimmy. Think of how many Africans we know that can catch and dunk a ball. Think about that. What does Clint Capella do? He don't block a shot. He can't make a post move. He can't make a jump shot. You paid him all that money for what? You know what? You paid him all that money to get out of the way. Because I think Tyson Chandler is better. But again, I'll make the same point. If they need a big that can play, not another guard. Or they got to get better players around them.
Okay,
we're talking about winning a championship, Jimmy.
Like who?
I'm going to tell you what would have been good. I know he's terrible. Dwight Howard.
He
I think
playing
Dwight
well.
Howard.
Tried that. It didn't work.
No, but it didn't work this time. It didn't work for Dwight Howard with the Lakers the first time, but it's working this time.
No. Dwight Howard is not in the primary role. He was in the primary.
I get it. That's my point. But he shouldn't have been. He's not a primary dude to win with. But he's in a perfect situation now.
Okay, is Dwight Howard a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Okay, when did he earn that Hall of Fame?
Early in his career, but he's still formidable though.
During and around and before and around that time when he got to the Lakers. That's when it's been going downhill ever since.
I know, but Jimmy, he also got problems off the court. What I'm saying is a refocused Dwight Howard, who's not asked to do much, is still formidable. That's all I'm saying.
But Dwight Howard was not an option. Him and James Harden, it came down to one of them going to the front office and said either he go or I go. That wasn't going. That was a relationship that was irreparable. Now, who next? Give me another option of who the Rockets should get. Since you're saying in this situation,
listen. I'm not saying that there's someone to get. All I'm saying is I don't like Capella.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Okay. I don't like.
Okay, but I mean, so now I can understand.
They got Tyson Chandler's better than him, but they got Tyson Chandler.
Jimmy.
What about DeAndre? Hey, what about DeAndre Jordan?
Okay, Chris, you live in New York. And you forgot DeAndre Jordan played with the Brooklyn
Nets. No, that's not true, because I saw him the other night, and I think he's better than Jared Allen. I don't know why Jared Allen playing ahead of him. But at the end of the day, he'd have been a great option for the Rockets. He'd have been a great option for the Rockets.
DeAndre Jordan, if you think Dwight Howard is a diva, you think James Harden is a diva.
He coming off the bench, Jimmy.
DeAndre Jordan, he wasn't coming off no bench.
He's coming off the bench now for the Nets. Yeah, he is.
But he started the other night.
Okay, might have, but he came off the bench. The game I was at, he was on the bench.
Yeah. But at the same time, remember now, when he went to Brooklyn last year, he wasn't too happy about that. When he got there, he thought he
was in New York, Jimmy.
I mean, New York. I'm sorry. Yeah. When he went to New York, he wasn't happy about that. And then so he decided to come on to Brooklyn when Kevin Durant and Kyrie said they were going. He joined Brooklyn and accepted a lesser role.
And guess what?
But in this situation,
and talk bad about New York.
Yeah, they all do when they leave, And that's.
They always talk bad about a team when they leave, especially if things don't work out. But hey, Hatter, your organization with that all black. I don't want to chop on all black staffs because you like to chop us up. You that dude. I'm gonna call you the Charles Payne of the chop shop. That all black staff in New York getting their head torn off.
No, those black
management staff. What's going on?
Them terrible players they got getting their head tore off. The staff just had a little bad luck. Instead of getting Zion, we get that whatever that kid's name, and they playing him 40 minutes. Yeah, they playing him 40 minutes a game. So. I mean, the staff ain't got nothing to do with it. It's the owner. Don't nobody want. Ain't nothing the staff. All the staff can do is get players, and all of those players have.
Whoa! Aren't you the same dude that said Monty Williams is a reason that they're winning in Phoenix, and now the staff don't have nothing to do with it? You the same dude that chopped me up last week telling me that.
I said, Chris, since you're mentioning coaches, don't forget Monty Williams. That's all I said. I'm not the guy who beat my chest about it. I just don't want Negro naysayers like yourself forgetting about the accomplishments that African Americans are making and how hard it is to make it in this business. I know you know how hard it is to make it in this business and be able to have a seat at that table in New York. And that's why I'm going to always support them. Hey, guess what?
I can say I want to support him, but Willie Taggart did get chopped this weekend.
You've been waiting on him to get chopped. And you know what, Jimmy, he got chopped so well they got to pay him $17 million, Jimmy. So
I'm
guess
down
what?
with it. He still got chopped.
Guess what I call Willie Taggart? Black history. He a Black history hero. Hey, Jimmy, you gave me a $17 million vacation. I put it like this: how many?
You think he want to get fired?
Excuse me. How many dudes you know, Jimmy? I ain't going to talk about you. How many dudes you know, Mr. All Things I Can Do? I can do all things. How many people you know? There's somebody black folks. There's somebody that said, "Hey, Here's 17 million, man. Get away. Go on, baby. How many black coaches? It ain't happening.
0. He's the first one.
So guess what?
He's the first one.
That's black history to me.
I just posted the stats from the last 4 games, the last 5 games. I'm sorry, for Russell Westbrook from behind the 3-point arc, and this is one of the contributing factors. Of course, James Harden is shooting a career low, probably since he's been a Houston Rocket. At this, I'm only 6 games in, but still, James Harden has struggled mightily from behind the arc. Now, we mentioned earlier that Eric Gordon is struggling mightily behind the arc. Well, now I just posted Russell Westbrook. The last 5 games, 1 for 6, 1 for 6, 1 for 5, 0 for 1, and 1 for 3. That means, understand reason why I post this. The first game, guess what? He hit 3. He was 3 for 7. So
Fool's gold.
That was a tough game against Milwaukee. Hard fought. Rockets lost that opener, but Russ had showed promise, came from behind the arc, and that was one of the things, because the 3-point accuracy, it has to become contagious for the Rockets to, the way we watched the Houston Rockets over the past couple of years. We used to see PJ hit 1, then Eric Gordon hit 1, James Harden hit 3. Then the next guy hit 1, and Gerald Green would hit 1. Even Daniel House would get into the mix and hit 1. But then it would go like, and then it would rinse, wash, and repeat. Well, that's not happening.
Jimmy, have you ever thought about this? The other NBA players have caught on and said, "Look, man, we just guard the line, man. We'll back off Russ, like Hatter said, just back, like Portland said, just back off." They were backing off. Let me tell you, the Brooklyn Nets were like, "Man, shoot that ball, man. Shoot if you want to. I dare you." And what was Russ doing? One more to who, Hatter? And you told me it's ridiculous and blasphemous they was one more into him. Daniel House. Hatter said he should have one more too. I said, how the 3-point shooter going one more?
Who said Daniel House was a 3-point shooter?
That's what they brought him in for.
No, they did not.
What else is he?
He said the energy, length. They ain't never said he was no 3-point shooter.
Do what? Play defense?
No, he said he's supposed to be our guy.
All he does is shoot threes. I don't see him doing anything but shooting threes.
That's all right. Okay. Hey, Jimmy, they 3-3, right?
They're 3-3.
In the famous words of Jim Hicks, since it's his birthday, see me at the 20-game mark, bro.
See me at the 82-game mark in the playoffs, because none of this stuff matters anyway.
No, but you can just tell. You get a good feel. That's the case. And that's what we're here on the Chop Shop. We're reflecting on early expectations. My thing is the total lack of effort. Chris, you say you went and watched them in person. You've watched the Rockets play in Houston, and you watched the road game in New Jersey just last week. Well, and I'll be going to the game in a couple of. I already had it on the books, but even though it's not going to be I'm going to watch a pickup game. People gonna be wearing the Rockets.
Who are the Rockets playing that pickup game? Because that's like, you might as well go get that. You get at the Toyota Center. You watch the pickup game at the Toyota Center.
The San Francisco Warriors. That's
a pickup game. Oh my goodness. Shirts and skins.
Good when I locked it in and told them, okay, I'm coming on this game right here. It looked good, but guess what? Feet gonna be on the wood now.
But Jimmy, let me ask you a question, Jimmy. Are you watching at the park across the street, or is that game gonna be at the park across the street? Or is that gonna be at the Toyota Center?
But guess what? That's anybody who play these guys. They're going to beat somebody. That little makeshift team they got of three drafted rookies in the starting lineup from a team that made it to the NBA Finals. That has never happened.
Smoke screen, Jimmy. Smoke screen.
Don't leave out the 5 years in a row.
That's never happened before. A team
smoke screen.
Never started 3 rookies, right? It never started in the first month of the season after advancing to the NBA Finals.
He's keeping that smoke off him, Jimmy. He's keeping that smoke off him.
He means who? Steve Kerr?
Yes, he's keeping that smoke off him. You can't attack him when he's saying we starting 3 rookies. He's smart. Just like what's that? We got the Chop Shop. They got the Chop Shop coaching meetings, man. How can we keep that smoke off us, man? Let's start 3 rookies. And one of those rookies is Villanova, by the way. A Villanova guy, by the way.
Terrible.
Hatter. Eric Paschal. Shout out to the Wildcats.
This is a very depressing conversation. I just want to tell you, man. I don't like talking about this.
Because your nephew not playing no more?
Yeah, man. I'm sick.
The Warriors are finished.
We won't
hear from them for another 100 years. The Warriors are finished.
Dude, it's a piece of me is gone from this NBA season, man. It's a piece of me. A piece of me have just gone. I'm just telling you. I'm sorry. Where we go then?
LeBron is back. You should be happy. LBA, I'm going to tell y'all one thing, Hatter. I don't usually go here, but that boy in Dallas, oh, my God.
Oh, that's my new nephew. I got a white nephew now, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. What? I got a white nephew now.
Uh-oh.
Luka Doncic.
You're talking about Luka Doncic with his triple-double, 29, 15, and 14 in a win at Cleveland on Sunday, a 20-point win. And this Dallas team is one of the teams. I'm glad, for the record, I had got on the wagon before the season started and said this team would definitely make the playoffs this season. But right now, I understand it's a long way to go in basketball, but right now, this Dallas team is not like a year ago when you got tickets to the Dallas Mavericks or somebody offered you tickets. You were like, I'm good. No, thank you, man. I'm good. Now, they're back. They're a ticket now.
But how about this? They talking about trading for Chris Paul. That's what they're talking about.
Oh, it'll get ugly.
Hey. To get him a big three.
But Jimmy,
you know what? And that would be a solid because Chris Paul would take the workload off of him, and he would set a role where he doesn't have to play but maybe 23, 24 minutes, and that'll be good for Chris Paul.
I can tell y'all, I got bloodlines of Slovenia because my new nephew is Luka Doncic. Yeah, he from Slovenia, and I know y'all don't know where it is.
Tell him to win something.
Oh, leave him alone.
Okay? Tell him to win something. Then holler at your boy.
Jimmy, did you see the lineup where they had Porzingis and Boban in the lineup? 7-6, 7-3, in the lineup at the same time.
Hey, who's the starting point guard for the Dallas Mavericks?
Brunson.
Where'd he go to college? My bad. I didn't know what it said. V for Villanova, V for victory. Come on, baby. The Wildcats.
Hey, Jimmy, can I say
the Wildcats.
Hey, really?
The Wildcats.
Really?
That's right, baby.
That's a shame.
I'm just saying, baby. Hey, I will say this. Anybody ever get a chance?
Hey, Jimmy, go on finish, Chris. I got
if anybody ever get a chance, bro, the Mavericks got a nice setup around their stadium, their basketball arena.
Oh, they've been there.
Oh my God, they got the little club there. They got a nice setup.
The W.
I watched the Cowboy game over there a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, hold up, man.
Have you been across the street?
They got the W right there.
Yes, sir.
They got all the little bars. Houston, we gotta catch up, man. They got a nice little setup over there by the Mavericks.
Jimmy,
that's by the American Airlines.
Hey, Jimmy, I mentioned something the other day, and Jimmy tried to downplay it. But on Thursday, my alma mater sold out. Hey, y'all, I don't never remember somebody selling out the Liberty Bowl. 60,000 people.
Big, hell of a game.
Let me tell you something. I mentioned it the other day. They beat SMU, man. Y'all don't understand. College game day came down there. What's my Heisman Trophy? Desmond Howard. He came and said, man, y'all got something down here. The whole basketball team came out. Jimmy, I got something for you. I want to show y'all. Let me see. I hope this pop on the screen. You know, says, hey, y'all, I hate to toot my own horn, but look at that Memphis calendar because basketball season is about to start, and it's going to pop on. Jimmy, don't frown up on me. It's going to pop up on the screen in a minute. We got a 10-second delay. But, Jimmy, let me tell you, wait till you see these young guys from Memphis. It's going to, yeah, you should see it right along now. That's how we do it down there in Memphis, Tennessee. See?
Oh my God! They look like hey, rest in peace, John Witherspoon. They look like a bunch of young John Witherspoon.
Hey,
bang, 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 bang. Come on, man.
Did y'all see that?
Are they in Detroit or Memphis? What is going on, man?
They ain't got on no Gators. They got
on. I cannot believe
all the smoke. I can't wait to see the smoke.
Penny Hardaway and Robert Hatter and company would go and promote all of the weed, the smoke.
Wow.
You're gonna personify and want to change the mascot to the smokers.
Hey, man. I just love my team, man. Listen to me. Hold up, but hey, check this out, Facebook people. In case you don't know, I support Chris Walker and Villanova. Guess what I did? I went to the Final Four with him. Sit there right next to him. Right there. Jimmy know how I support TSU. So I support y'all university. So don't y'all can hate.
I just told you I'm gonna watch them when they play NC State in the Barclays. I told you. My feet better be on the wood, or I'm off the chop for a week.
No, I told you.
I'm off the chop. You know what I tell him, Jimmy? He talk all that mess about all that love he got. Jimmy, what you got in that cup, boy? It's a blue cup.
Hey man,
what's going on the chop shop, man?
Hey man, let me tell you something.
New York Giant Cup.
That dude right there, man.
That's a Cowboy Cup.
hey, that's all, but hey, I just, I see y'all
that
down
person really that person's cool. That poster was cool though.
That's cool poster.
They're gonna drug test the whole team after that poster was made.
And the coaches too.
That's what's gonna happen.
Y'all, bless y'all heart.
we were talking some NBA talking, of course, a couple other games that took place on yesterday that was of significance was the Lakers went into San Antonio and pulled out the 103-96 win. LeBron James with a triple-double in the process. And, I mean, what do you guys say? Is LeBron?
What do you mean? What do you say? What do you mean? Like the guy's 34 years old, still putting in, triple doubles. What do you want? And he's, again, taking it easy, averaging 26, throwing up 11 assists and 8 rebounds. I'm going to predict that LeBron may average a triple-double this year. He got to get his rebounding up. He may get a triple-double.
Triple-doubles don't matter, Chris. Triple-double is
at 34 years old? LeBron, after the season that he had, come back with a triple-double? No, that's not overrated. It's not overrated.
It's a guy that's on the Houston Rockets team right now, averaging triple-double for 3 years in a row, and y'all didn't even put him in the MVP. Hold on, can I finish?
He won the MVP.
Not this year. He wasn't even in the running this year. He averaged one this year too.
Because his team was terrible. Like you say, his team was terrible. And listen, he almost got a triple-double this year. He's still almost averaging a triple-double.
Overrated stat, player.
It's not. He's the only one doing it, out of 500 players. It's not overrated.
Player.
Come on,
man. Of course, speaking of
tell your nephew to do it if it's so overrated then. Tell your nephew to do it and to go to State.
Well, as looking at the Lakers, and speaking of Lakers, one of the guys who did a couple of the secondary options who stepped up, of course, we mentioned Dwight Howard a while ago, but he had his best game as a Laker thus far this go-round, this season that is, 14 points, 13 rebounds for Dwight Howard in only 28 minutes, which was good for him. How about Kentavious Caldwell-Pope?
That's had a nephew too.
Mr. Leg Monitor, 14 points off the bench on Sunday, and starter Avery Bradley had a productive stat line with 16 points and no turnovers in 27 minutes. Those are key elements as to the supporting cast getting it done. Of course, Anthony Davis, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4 blocks in the win. And
I got to say this. I looked at the stats, right? I looked at the stats of the top players in the league. Do you realize the Lakers got a dude averaging 28, right? And another dude averaging 25. Listen, man, y'all got to understand. Nobody has 2 dudes like that. The next closest guys is the Rockets with 36 and 21. Put them headphones on all you want, Mickey Mouse, and open them ears. All I'm telling you is the Lakers are going to be hard to deal with, Jimmy. You better talk to that dude.
Jimmy, these noise reduction. Sorry, Chris. My bad, baby. My bad.
That was pretty good. Yeah, listen. Y'all better say whatever y'all want. The Lakers they got to be dealt with this year, man.
Hey, Chris.
That first game was an aberration. You got to deal with the Lakers this year. I know one thing. I love to have some floor seats at the Laker game. Oh my! We got to get a trip planned.
Chris.
Oh my goodness!
Chris, I ain't gonna lie, man.
The Lakers this year to be at a Laker game, it's like when Kobe played. It's like when Kobe and Shaq played.
Hey, Jim, I think I told y'all this story before. I've sit on courtside one time in my whole life at the Lakers. It was during the time that they were filming this movie. What's that? Denzel was filming the movie with Whitney Houston. The Preacher's Wife. The Preacher's Wife. The Preacher's Wife. The usher, he was out of town. And the usher, I got cool with the usher. And she said, he's out of town. He's not using his seats. And they let me sit there. I'll never forget it. Hey, Jimmy, I got up and went to the restroom about 10 times. You know why? Because I wanted to let people know that's why I was sitting there. So I never forget that. And guess what? I ain't never sit there again, ever again in life. So I had my moment. I had my one moment now.
Let me tell you something, man. I sat in the coach's seats for the Rockets game. I saw the price on those tickets. Let me tell you something. The NBA ain't losing a nickel, Jimmy. They can say whatever they want. I'm like, hold on, this ticket go where we sit. That ticket, I couldn't believe it was 300 bones, and I had I wasn't Woody Woodpecker, and I was nowhere close to it. Yeah, that's all I got to tell you.
See on the floor at the Rockets.
No. They got good seats though, but they were still 300 bones. That was $600 worth of tickets. And I'm like, man, I would think a ticket like that would be a little bit further down. Hey, man. The NBA ain't losing a nickel, man.
Hey,
yeah.
No, I ain't talking about the NBA, Jimmy. I'm talking about, think about the disposable income people have to pay it.
Oh my God.
Well, you have to understand most of the season tickets holder in the lower near courtside is most of those are corporations that are buying season tickets and business owners. So think about it. Every major city that has an NBA team is before they even get it in place is predicated on season ticket commitments, and they go to the different corporations and different companies in town because then it becomes a Peter slinging contest from those companies. Even if you're a relatively nominal business that's not really a mainstream, multi-billionaire, billion-dollar industry, revenue driving company, you're still going to get season tickets just because the guy across the street has them, and that's kind of like how they go. And then
somebody still got to pay for them, Jimmy. I don't care if it's so companies have disposable income. Somebody but hold up, the guys that I know, there's some people sitting there. I never forget when it was time to renew those things for the playoffs, right? Do you know, just for the playoff tickets for the next round? And them folks told that man, were we about to charge your card $50,000 for these playoffs?
Oh yeah, last year. Well, it was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, 50,000. Yeah, 2 years ago. 50,000, Chris, just for the playoffs.
Hey man, listen. Did y'all see that thing I sent y'all on Byron Allen, man?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh yes.
We need to put that on the Facebook feed, man. Let everybody listen to that on the Breakfast Club.
Yes.
Oh, unbelievable, man. You know what he said? And he says, was that unbelievable or what? If you haven't heard it yet, if you could put it on the Facebook feed, let everybody listen to the Byron Allen version when he was on the Breakfast Club talking about wealth and how much wealth is actually out there. He says, what did he say? Ain't no shortage of money out there.
No.
That's what he said.
No.
Ain't no shortage of money. Y'all think there's no money out there? No. There's money out there. It's unbelievable listening to him. I'm like, man, he inspired me, man. You know, he inspired me. He like, he liked them. He liked them pink toes. But he inspired me though.
Hold on. I hope he inspired you. And Chris, this is my hope for you. I hope he inspired you the way Oprah Winfrey inspired Tyler Perry 10 years ago at her legend speech. Tyler Perry went to they were talking about Oprah being a legend, and Tyler was in an interview 10 years ago and said, man, my dream's too small. I got to dream bigger. And
let me tell you something, man. Did you hear what Byron Allen said about the statute that's being challenged as far as our civil rights? And again, listen. I don't want to get too much into the weeds about it, but you got to watch it. It's unbelievable. He did a tremendous job, and he had it. Let me say this.
It's talking about discrimination, Chris.
Yes,
discrimination practices against. In other words, you're trying to stop African American. I'm not talking about no minority. You're trying to, if an African American try to make a power move on a business that y'all can stop him, they band together and stop him. And if the Supreme Court don't fight this thing, if we don't win this thing, that is why I told all of y'all 3 years ago when y'all were talking about not voting and allowed Trump to come in and put all these Supreme Court people on the Supreme Court. Now, the guys don't going to be, the Trump-appointed guys are going to be voting for this thing, Chris Walker.
I know, man.
Let me repeat that in press play, because we talking about Byron Allen might lose this. We might set us back 100 years because we didn't go out and vote.
Hatter, you know what they said? They said to him, we're not trying to create more Bob Johnsons. Yes. I was like, what?
And explain to the people who don't know who Bob Johnson is.
The creator and owner of BET.
The former owner.
Who was the only, who was the first black owner, if I'm wrong, correct me, of a professional sport.
Yes, he was.
Unbelievable, man.
Hey, man, let me tell you something, man.
That's for those of you who actually didn't understand when them people wrote what the meaning of what was on those red hats in 2016. And some people tried to play green and act nonchalant, like they nonchalantly were naive to what that really meant to a lot of people who wore those hats on those heads. And now you're beginning to see the action shows. And what do you do about it? Guess what? You got to do something about it.
Got to vote, man. Hey, Jimmy, let me say this, Jimmy, about the chop shop, Jimmy. And even Jimmy, what he does in the city of Houston,
right,
is that Byron Allen made a great point. He says, he talked to somebody. He says, look, man, a white man don't speak for all black people, and one black man don't speak for all black people. He was addressing Al Sharpton. He's like, yo, man, you don't speak for all of us, man. We don't all because Al Sharpton, some of these you-know-whats are on the side of those people that are actually oppressing us. Because guess what? They get money. You see D.L. Hughley got his show canceled because he can't say what he want to say. They censoring us. Melissa Harris Perry canceled. I can go on and on.
Yeah.
They ran rolling Jack Yates' butt off of TV.
Yeah.
You have to look what happened on ESPN.
Yeah.
With Jamel Hill. What her name? Jamel Hill.
And Michael Smith.
Anytime we try to speak up, right? But you let those politicians, they get on TV saying the craziest stuff in the world.
Yeah.
Stuff that affect us more. But when people in sports say, hey, man, there's not enough black coaches, all of a sudden, we can't say that.
Chris.
But they can say whatever they want in politics.
You know, in Troy Bieniemy, and some people always bring up, like we mentioned Bob Johnson, and talking about he a Trump supporter. He might have more. He might have more in common with Trump than he does with you.
Does now. How about that?
Now, Troy Bieniemy. And see, that's what we got to figure. In this politic thing, that's why you can't get mad when I was trying to tell you about a Stephen Ross, when he gave a fundraiser. He gave a fundraiser when I learned about it for the Republican Party. The Republican Party happened to be led by Trump. And everybody was, I'm not going to buy Equinox. I'm not going to buy Soul Cycle. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. Y'all Jimmy said, pay attention and read a lot further Bob Johnson, of course, now. And guess what? And when I found out, and I don't, Donald Trump, y'all know how I feel about it, but I found out a lot of celebrities and a lot of people, they all used to hang out together.
No doubt. No doubt, man. I honestly believe Donald Trump don't believe half the stuff he's saying, man. I honestly believe that, man. I honestly believe.
I don't know about that.
You honestly believe that he don't?
I honestly believe he said, look, man, I want to be elected. I'm going to say what I got to say. Because think about it. They're going to follow. If you watch some of this old stuff, they're going to follow me anyway, man. All I got to do is say this and that. That no matter what I say, think about this. Joe Biden was refused communion in the Catholic Church, I want to say in South Carolina, because he's for women's right to choose.
Right to choose. Yeah.
But that same Catholic priest, because he's against abortion, will vote for Donald Trump.
Yes.
Come on, man.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Chris, let's not go there. Chris,
I won't go there. I won't go there because I'm telling you, I don't believe the dude believe half the stuff he's saying. Like, look, man, if I want to be elected president, these knuckleheads, these idiots will vote against their own freaking interests every single time. So why am I going to try to change the world when I don't have to be president of the United States?
And Dave Chappelle, I'm going to end it here. Dave Chappelle said it great. Do y'all know Donald Trump got more in common with me than y'all, poor people? I'm rich. I said, wow. But Jimmy, what we got? Jimmy, do we have some news? You jumped off the phone with me this morning. Dude, that what I talked to you about, we don't have to talk about it. That's real.
Well, we're talking about high school news now, and recruiting, of course, and shift gears and on the Chop Shop, just tuning in. Today marks the start of the high school basketball season on the private school ranks, and when shortly, Walter Yates is on the feed right now. Shout out to Walter Yates. This will be his first ever game as head coach of the Houston St. Pius High School, and they will be hosting the Legacy, the School of Sports Sciences, which this school Legacy, if they can produce a winning atmosphere in their extracurricular activities, this school could be the hottest thing in the United States of America in the upcoming years.
Why you say that, Jimmy? Why? Tell me why.
Because the concept of the school, they focus on all aspects of sports that's related to the actual playing itself. So that means you come in now and you have to basically not like in the term major, like you're majoring in, let's say, sports medicine. You're majoring in analytics. You're majoring in just different things that go and contribute to every various sports. That's in the
science of it, right? The science of sports.
And the science of it. So that's what I'm saying. So it's not like everything that they do in their curriculum is streamlined into that. So it ain't like it's a school and have, like regular schools. This thing, it has a chance because they have their own brick and mortar buildings.
They study Black history. That's all I want to know. How about that?
I would assume that they do because the school, the CEOs and the masters are of color. And that's Carrie Brown Patterson. I might have chopped the name up backwards.
Carrie Patterson.
Patterson Brown.
But Miss Carrie.
And so her and her husband. But anyway, that thing that place has a chance. Now, meanwhile, they will play at St. Pius tonight. And I was joking with those guys. And of course, Walt just corrected. They played 3 games over the weekend. Yeah. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the games this past weekend, did those actually count toward the season? Or they were scrimmages? A lot of teams went out of town to, I think, Laredo or something. But anyway, correct us. There we go. Walter just put it on there right now. He said he went 2-1 over the weekend, lost to Midlands Christian, and beat the other 2 top 10 teams. And so I gave my projections on tonight's game, and we'll see how it goes down on Legacy at St. Pius. Legacy, that school there. So meanwhile, speaking of high school.
Jimmy, can I ask you about that Legacy real quick, Jimmy, before you go to high school? The other point, the Herb asked the question. I wanted to, is their curriculum NCAA certified? Since they're doing it differently, Can kids go there and actually become NCAA certified to get scholarships?
You get a 2-year probationary span when you have an upstart and to be in compliance. You don't really know for sure until one of the players actually get a Division I, sign his letter of intent, and then he has to get cleared. And at that point, because otherwise we see it all the time. And Chris, you know, you've had the Chris Walker Academy 2 to 3 years ago.
Ginsu.
And he said Ginsu.
That's how I went to college. I had to go, man. Come on, Hatter. Stop hating, Hatter. God, Robert Hatton. That's what his name is. Robert Hater. Keep going.
And so you guys understand this. So a lot of times everybody that has a school is going to tell you that they're NCAA compliant. And nobody, I think, is better equipped on the Chop Shop right now to speak further on that topic than Chris Walker. You know what's required, and you know how this stuff goes in regard to the compliance and your old. I think they changed the name of the curriculum. What they call it, the 48H? I mean, what they call it?
The 48H form. It's
four
requirements.
It's not called anymore. But anyway, tell us. Okay, so tell us how do you tell if a school, a high school, a private school, charter school, I'm talking about, is indeed in compliance with NCAA, and a kid can go there and their Division I relevant team will be honored?
There's two things. First of all, you have to go to NCAA.org, right? They'll direct you to find out where the school is. You need their CEEB code, right? CEEB code. If you get that code, it's a 6-digit code that every school has. You put that code in, and then all of a sudden will pop up all of the classes that are what they call approved core classes that your 16 approved core have to come out of. You got to have 16 approved core. 4 English, 4 math. I can go on and on. I'm sorry, 4 English, 4 math, 3 social studies, blah, 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 blah. You need 16. Sorry, it's 3 math. 16 of those, right? And then you get your GPA and the sliding scale and the SAT score comes out of that. Now, if those classes aren't there, right, you cannot take, those classes won't count. It doesn't matter if you get an A. They can only use the classes that they see. And the NCAA is clear cut about that. I remember years ago, Wheatley High School, I don't want to throw Wheatley out there, but they didn't have enough core classes. They had kids taking all types of classes. Jimmy, I think you remember this. And we had to fight to get classes on their list of approved core classes, NCAA approved core classes. So the bottom line is, if Legacy, and then I saw Herb say he talked to the owner and she said she wasn't sure, if they're serving those kids' best interest, and they're good in athletics, doesn't matter for the regular kids. I don't call them regular kids, but the other kids. But it does matter for the kids that are playing sports, because if they don't have those 16 core classes, they can't get eligible. And they got more rules. They say you can't retake classes after your junior year. You have to take so many classes up to your junior year. So they need to make sure those classes are either counting, they need to add them, or dare I say, take your kids up out of that school if they're going to get a scholarship, because it's going to be a problem. Now, if they're in a probationary stage, that's fine. But I would get documentation. Make sure it's written documentation. Don't call the NCAA and get some answer on the phone. Because if you call, one person's going to say one thing. You call back 2 days later, somebody else is going to give you a different interpretation. You got to get a thread of stuff as you email them about information. But more importantly, I would make sure and ask your counselors, because again, counselors don't know. I know that sounds crazy, but they don't know. Think about it. If there's a high school of 3,000 kids, there may be one Division I player or two. Their job is graduation. That's what their job is. Their job is not scholarship. It's graduation, not NCAA certification. People need to understand that. Anyway, go on, Jimmy.
No, keep going. You're giving it to them and writing it down. This is what the type of stuff, and I know a lot of people may not understand this. It's so easy for people at these types of schools to make parents believe that they are in compliance. And a lot of times, because guess what? You trust the person. And then trust the person, and you're going to trust, naturally, you're going to trust most of the things that person may say. And it, just the truth be told, a probationary status, it is what it is. That means they're going to address and treat that first when it comes through the door. As that's going to be the guinea pig of the program.
And here's the thing, Jimmy. Probationary means they can say no. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to say yes. You know what I dealt with, and I don't want to take away from this, but there are a lot of kids out there that I'm close to their situations. And I don't know if you've been following this, Hatter. I know, Jimmy, you may have, and Quentin Grimes was the beneficiary of it, have been getting their waivers denied. And I don't know where you guys stand on this. And I'm pivoting for a second. I'm going to direct it to both you guys. I was talking to Alan Branch this morning. We're going back and forth. I say, isn't it funny? And I'd love to know what the Boomer Room thinks on this, that a college coach, which I've been a part of that fraternity for 20 plus years, he can leave whenever he wants if he gets a good contract, if it serves his interests. The kid, when he signs a letter of intent, right, Hatter, he is bound to that school. Now, they have a little rule now where they've eased it, where if coach gets fired before the kid gets there, they usually let him transfer with no penalty, which means a year of residency, and he doesn't have to sit out. But you know what I'm saying? This is my thought, and I've been thinking about this, Hatter. If Robert Hatter is the head coach and they decide to fire him, and kids at the school say, you know what? You guys fired the coach that I came to play for. I want to leave too. I don't want to be here. The schools are fighting those kids and saying, no, he shouldn't do that because he should come because of the school. Well, the science department doesn't recruit him, Hatter. The English department doesn't recruit him. The coach recruits him to the university. So if the coach can leave, whether he gets fired or whether he gets a better deal somewhere else, should the kid have the option to leave if he wants and be able to transfer without penalty? I'll throw that to you guys.
I think it should. Jimmy, you can go.
Well, I think one of the things is, I think the NCAA, based on them, they said that they were going to be tighter this year. They said they were going to get even tighter on granting waivers for a Division I transfer. And to me, it seems like it doesn't feel like it's any tighter. I'm gonna get the official count, but it really don't. I think it's still going to be a case-by-case basis, because guess what? It all comes down to the verbiage from which a college or the kid to transfer himself, for which he is applying for the waiver to be applied against. That's what it comes down to. And you have to think about it. Certain people can have 3 or 4 different reasons. If you pick the wrong reason and that's what you're trying to seek, then you're going to get denied. You know, but
Jimmy, why should they get denied? Here's my thing. We're talking about they want kids to do stuff like this. Well, my mom has lupus and she can't move. Well, we all know the deal, Jimmy. You know, like I know, we all know it's all BS. The kid don't want to be there anymore. All I'm saying is, let's kill the BS, Hatter. If the coach gets fired, right? If the kid has nothing to do with that, right, Hatter?
Right.
If the coach gets fired, he should be able to leave and he shouldn't have to sit out. If the coach decides, I want to go take this sweet honey pot somewhere else, that has nothing to do with the kid. He came in good faith, right? He should be able to leave and go somewhere else. If the coach doesn't get fired and he takes his butt in that portal, that's a different story. Now he got to fight for a waiver. But he shouldn't need a waiver when the coach leaves, which is the primary reason. Let's kill this notion that the kid is coming because of the school and the education. He's coming because he wants to be on CBS, he wants to be playing the NCAA, and he wants to play in the freaking Final Four in football. That's why he's coming.
Well, I got a question, Chris, as a coach. If that kid transfer, then explain to me and the viewers and out here, how doesn't that affect something called your APR?
It could. And you know what that also does? That forces the coach to make sure he stays on top of them. And by the way, I'm not trying to make my other coaching buddies upset, but coaches get paid a couple of ways, right? Guess how else we get paid? We not only get paid for your performance on the field, we get paid for your performance off the field. So when our APR stays at a certain level, we get a check. When so many kids make all academic, we get a check. When we get a high GPA, depends on how you negotiate the contract, we get a check. So at the end of the day, it's in our best interest to make sure. That's when people say stuff like athletes don't graduate. I'm like, that's not true. because progress towards degree. PTD, once that was introduced, dudes are making sure these dudes are going to class now because they don't get a check or they're going to get fired or their APR is going down, which means they can't compete for championships. So that's not true. Do not believe that. My only point is that at the end of the day, first of all, APR is a bunch of BS. That's number one.
But it's in place.
It's in place, but it's a bunch of crap, and it will be eradicated at some point.
It has to be in order for this thing. In order for the theory and the notion for these kids to be able to transfer without penalty, then the APR has to be removed because if they are, then it's gonna dent.
Not if they're. You're right, but not if they do their job academically, which they should be with these kids. My point again is this, Hatter. If you're telling me that you're gonna pay them, now you're gonna pay them. Why are you making them sit out? If you're gonna let them go to the portal and you don't need the coach's permission, why make them sit out? And they're gonna say, well, the coaches can't do their job. The coaches are making millions. So what? Do your job. Do your job. Keep your players.
Chris, they never said Chris, they never said they're gonna pay them. You always have that slip of the tongue.
It's coming, Hatter.
They're gonna allow them to benefit from their likeness. Paying them and benefiting from their likeness is two different things.
I understand it, Hatter, but I'm telling you right now, benefit from their likeness. I'm foreshadowing. I'm crystal balling this thing. Benefiting from their likeness is the genesis of paying them. Trust me when I tell you that. Just like I told you that situation the other day. Remember I sent you guys on the Chop Shop thread about the kid in Kentucky, the baseball player. They tried to make the shirts for him, and the NCAA said no. And we're saying like, only the top 5% guys will get sub. That's not true. I'm telling you, a lot more people are going to benefit from their likeness than y'all think.
Oh, yes.
It's going to be crazy.
Now, tell us the story of the weekend that we saw that the student athlete and his sister attempted to make some T-shirts.
I don't know that. Is that from the Kentucky thing? Oh, yes. Is that something else? Yes. They call him Big Ben. Yes. And they told him no. I mean, I just know that part of it because I grazed through the story. And I'm like, well, hold on. And they were just proud that he was going to be on the basketball team.
Allow me to paraphrase a little bit, and then that way you get your thoughts. Last week, this was a story. It was a player that was at the University of Kentucky. Actually, he's not a basketball star. He's I think he plays one of the other sports, and he decided
he plays baseball.
Baseball, and he came out for basketball. So he's a star in baseball at the school. Came out for basketball, made the team as a practice player. And in Kentucky, he's from the state of Kentucky. So in Kentucky, that's one of the, on the bucket list of many athletes, just to be able to come out and be part of the Big Blue Nation. Basketball is that big in that state in relations to that particular school. No disrespect to Louisville at all. However, this young man upon making the team, his sister decided to make some T-shirts, and on the shirts, it had some stuff on the front and about this young man. On the back, it had his name, Big Ben, right? The NCAA sent this family a cease and desist letter, meaning that they could no longer.
I think it was Kentucky. Was it Kentucky or the NCAA?
The NCAA.
Okay.
Sent them a cease and desist that they could no longer sell these shirts. And it was a mockery because this news came out just on the heels of the Fab play and on days after the NCAA announced that they will allow kids in the future to earn off their likeness. This is the perfect example. This young man was going to sell, and the sister said they were selling about 5 shirts a day of this, which it doesn't seem like much, but guess what? That's a lot. That's all right.
What you say? It depends on what you're selling them for.
Yeah.
How much?
Right. Yeah.
If the shirts cost $20, that's $100 a day.
You dang right.
That ain't bad. How about telling you?
And guess what? It ain't basketball season yet.
It ain't basketball.
Let him go in one game at the end. Let him get like some scrub minutes and make a 3. Come on, man.
So this is what Chris Bruce, what you're mentioning, and I think a couple of the people in the Boom Boom Room, you were asking and wondering, because people are leading people to believe that this will only benefit the 1/10 of the 1%. No, it's going to benefit them the most financially, of course. But you would have the opportunity to do such a thing in every community. You're not understanding this. If Sam Houston State is well, according to in addition to the penitentiaries, is the biggest employer in the city of Huntsville, Texas, right? Well, guess what? There's somebody that can go to that some company. It might be the Buc-ee's restaurant. And if you drive through Texas, and if you ever drove down the highways through Texas and saw one of those gas stations called Buc-ee's, guys, and I'm talking about, it is unbelievable. They make everything in them damn places. You go there.
It's the size of a Walmart.
You forget you need gas by the time you come out of that damn thing. You go there, oh, your empty light blinking, you go in there and load up with a grocery bag of all types of stuff. And then, I mean, but anyway, they could think about what they do. Every town, they can put your face on the gas pump of the young man. Those little digital things that come on the gas pump, those things are opportunities.
Small towns, man. Small town dudes, man. They'll be hyped up like you wouldn't believe. Think about if a kid was from Alvin and went to UT. Everybody in Alvin, I mean, like, people got to understand, man, this is a big deal. And I still firmly believe, Hatter, that they should get paid off the revenue that they bring in. You're telling me that if LSU brought in $147 million to the football program, Hatter, that the players deserve no penny of that?
Chris, I think they should too.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's the first time you've ever agreed with me since we've been on the Chop Shop in about 4 years. I appreciate that.
And
I appreciate that.
So, Chris, I want to give you another thing. While you were talking about the compliance and the academic things for the high schools, and you mentioned Wheatley High School, one of the viewers, Cecil Dudden, he was a former star at Wheatley High School. He provided his phone number on there. He said, after the show, can you please text him and enlighten him and educate, on this situation, how it was at Wheatley. And I can attest, because I do remember back during the time when
I forget who it was. What was the kid that we were dealing with?
David Salinas was living, and one of our players was named Dwayne Reed.
That's right.
Dwayne Reed, back in the class of 2006 or 2007, Dwayne Reed went up playing, going to Auburn, got his degree, played overseas a little while. Well, this young man, they were trying to get him qualified academically at Wheatley. And that's when I knew it was back in it was called the 48H form. And you can go online, like Chris says, you go online, can you please give them steps again?
Just go to NCAA.org, right?
Okay.
You got to have your CEEB code. All right. It's called CEE. Just Google it. I don't know the acronym anymore, but CEEB code. It's a 6-digit code. You put it in, and up pops every school in the country has to have it. That's the way the colleges work.
Yeah.
So they know what classes or classes that are, I forget, not qualified classes, but classes that are eligible for you to get scholarships, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what you use.
And that CEE code, that's basically the identification code for every high school in the United States. It's kind of like, you're dealing with computers in the binary coding. They done identified by the name. Just say Wheatley High School, Houston Wheatley. It goes by that code. Every school has this at a code, which is consisted of those 6 digits. So that means if you want to look up any school. I remember back in the days, I used to compare, and I looked up some schools that had hardly nothing on there.
Crazy.
Then I looked up schools like Bel Air High School in Houston that had a lot of stuff on there.
I'm gonna tell you a trick. If people don't know this, and this is it always happens in the hood. You go to certain schools in certain areas, they'll let you take 7 or 8 different math classes. You go to schools in the hood, they got one math class. You fail that one math class, you're done. When they get other kids other options, and the math is not as hard, or they got English 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you go to certain other schools, they'll have theories of Shakespeare, something of communication, something of this, and they give you different avenues to make it, and all those classes count the same. And that's what people are missing, especially in our neighborhoods. Man, when I come back, I'm running for city council. Jimmy, we're going to get it going. Hatter, you got your sociology degree, and we're going to run for city council. And we need to, I'm not going to mess with my boy Sylvester, because that's kinfolk. But when he's done, we need to change the dynamic of what's going on in HISD, because we got a lot of kids that may be left on the sidelines, right? Just because people aren't informed about people don't even understand. Listen, you can put your kid in calculus and he may not need to take it, and it kills his GPA, and it may stop him from getting somewhere. And because people don't know how to work the game. It's a formula to work in the game. If he gonna get an F in calculus, don't be at the water cooler holler saying, my baby in calculus. He getting an F. It hurts him. He's better off taking math, taking algebra 1, 2, 3 geometry, and leave it alone, and not try to take calculus, and not try to take all that stuff if he can't pass it, because it counts against him. People don't understand that. But
so where do you think the disconnect, as far as the lack of the how would I say, the naiveness or the ignorance is among the high school ranks for people understanding this information? Because obviously not enough people understand this. Chris, you've been on all three sides of the triangle: the high school side, the summer ball side, and the college side. Where is the disconnect at?
The disconnect is that the counselors, you got to understand something, guys. High school is about graduation. They get funding for graduation. They don't want truancy. They don't want kids running on the streets. They need to graduate kids. Do you understand that? It's not about NCAA certification. So you go to every counselor, they're overworked and underpaid, right? Overworked and underpaid. And then you got this dude, sometimes Hatter, who in the 9th grade was probably 5'2", like Robert Hatter's son. And then by the time he became a senior, he's 6'4", with long arms, looking like a diesel, looking like a dude. But with those 3 years before that, when he never thought he was going to be a player, I'm going to tell you the other person you can blame. And we talked about it on this show, and I forget the gentleman that we had on before. These high school coaches. They're to be blamed as well, because all they want to do is win a state championship. They're not thinking about, you know what, man? See, there's a difference between, and I'm going to pivot for a second, between the summer coach and the high school coach. I'm not talking about all of them, Hatter, because I know Hatter will find 2 of them that will go against the grain. An AAU coach gets his rocks off on kids going to college. Am I right, Jimmy? That's where his power lies.
Division I.
Division I, or period. All his dudes go to college. That's why they know the rules more, most times, than a high school coach. The high school coach is like, look, man, he got 7 or 8 classes. He got teachers and counselors. That's not my job. Well, the AAU coach is like, dude, we got to make sure you get tutoring. We got to make sure you get this. We got to get your SAT score up. And if you Robert Hatter, you're trying to find a pinch hitter for him. No, I'm just joking, Hatter. My bad. But what I'm saying is, people don't understand that if you don't know this stuff when they're entering the 9th grade, for instance, the state of California, they don't even count your 9th grade classes. I got educated on that, and I've gotten all types of kids through the eligibility center. The state of California don't even look at your 9th grade. So think about it. You can have all A's your 9th grade year, and it don't matter. They don't even count that. They only count the 10th to the 12th grade. And people don't understand. The 12th grade grades don't matter in the early signing period. You understand what I'm saying, Jimmy? Because you sign in November, and you don't get a report card till December, January. So the 10th and 11th grade, if you want to go to school in California, are the most important grades. So think about the classes that you're getting ready to take. If you just do well in, again, introductory classes, not even introductory classes, but your English 1s and all that. Once you get to English 2 and English 3, Spanish 2 and Spanish 3, they start counting your GPA. Period. Most people make the biggest mistake, Hatter, of not taking the SAT till their junior year. I'm like, man, take that thing right away. It's a certain code. You don't have to send it to the colleges. You don't have to send it to the NCAA. The testing centers have it. So don't worry about the school knowing what your score is. But you can't run from reality, man. Get your kids in that testing right away. And dare I say, people that are chasing these scholarships, the biggest problem is because you're chasing a scholarship and you're trying to go the athletic route, you're forgetting that, as Hatter said maybe about a month ago so eloquently, there's billions of dollars given out in academic aid. There's only hundreds of millions of dollars given out in athletic aid. So if you don't make it, there's a under that tightrope, there's a big net because you took care of your business academically. I mean, I could teach a whole class on it. And every school I go into, I just shake my head. Underserved, undereducated, and I'm talking about the teachers and the counselors and the principals, because their principal job is to graduate, right? Not get certification for the kids. It's terrible, Hatter. I'm just telling you, it's terrible. A lot of kids, Jimmy, like that 25%, those 25 kids that make it every year in college basketball from Houston, it could easily be about 35 or 40 if we got the academic stuff straight. Okay, I'm telling you that right now.
So at what point you blame you say the high school?
I don't want to say blame. I'm gonna leave. I blame them because most of them don't know. Okay. I'm like, how do you not know?
So you're blaming. Understand? So let's get this right. In your dealings, what percentage of the counselors know?
5%. 5%.
So 5%. So we have the blind leading the blind.
And Jimmy, and I'm going to say this, and this is where I blame the parents. They all, listen, everybody want to eat, but nobody want to what?
Cool.
So Jimmy Hicks will have a seminar that's free on a Sunday when the Cowboys are playing to help your baby, and coaches will come in and speak, and none of us will come. But we'll jump on that plane and go to Vegas in a heartbeat when there ain't going to be one college coach there and spend $5,000 for the whole family to come. We got it backwards, guys. We got it backwards. You're getting free information on the Chop Shop right now, Jim. Hey, they're getting free information right now. I charge for this. This is $100 an hour conversation.
Yeah.
Because I can change your baby's life by what I know in my head. But at the end of the day, you know what they want to hear? Well, I don't care. Jimmy Hicks don't have him ranked high enough. What are you talking about? Chris, we can get around that.
Chris, so what you're saying is somebody that broke into the store and changed the price tag on what's valuable. You said something so key. Somebody that came into these people's life and changed the price tag on what's valuable. Jimmy give a free event. Chop Shop giving you this information, valuable information. But you'd rather spend $5,000 to go to Vegas and no coach watch your son.
No coach.
Somebody to switch the price. It's like you done went in them Neiman Marcus and switch the price tag on what's valuable. And people just looking at that price tag. Vegas, 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 Vegas. Vegas is it. It's going to be some coaches there. It's going to be, ain't none of them coming to see your kid.
Exactly.
Wow.
I mean, it's sad, man. Listen, I've done it for 20 years. I just shake my head when I sit down with a parent. I sat down, guys. I sit down with a guy worth $800 million at a angel fundraising pitch. And his son plays in college, plays in high school. I won't say who he is. And I said, brother, I don't care how smart you are in tech. You ain't no match for me. You know why? Because I got something you won't. Do you understand that? That's the problem. Everybody got to be like Robert Hatter. And I'm not saying that dude don't feel that way because he obviously can pay for his son's education.
Right.
But if I got something you want and you'll do anything to do it, to get it, that means you'll listen to anything I say instead of vetting me. If you don't have a plan of your own,
right,
you're going to fall for everything I'm giving you.
Right.
And tell me what college tells you what's bad about their school. Tell me that college.
Wow.
But you know what, man? We got the worst basketball facility in the country.
Wow.
You know what? Our educational department is the worst, but you should still come here. Our girls are the ugliest. We don't have any TV deals. Think about it. No one's educating you on the truth. And my thing is for kids, and even in high school, if education is the key. We talked about it the other day when we were talking about the shop, and Puffy had to check who? Rich Paul.
Yes.
But if Rich Paul walked in one of these ninjas in households right now, they'll do whatever Rich Paul say, wouldn't they have?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me, man. Crazy. We don't want the truth, man. We don't want to hear the truth.
So, Chris, solution portion of this.
Yes. There
are people that have this information and know this information inside and out. There's living in Dallas, there's living in Houston. So, and knowing, like you just identified, that there's an abundance of people who don't know this and don't know where to get this from. Because here's the thing, in my experience, the counselors at your schools of your sons, many of those counselors, when it comes down to that spring semester, they're dealing with the honor society kids, the cum laudes, the magna cum laudes,
the dropouts. They trying to keep in school. They trying to bring them back. Yeah, trust me.
So that the state funding can stay in.
There you go.
They're dealing with mostly them, and many of those. Trust me, there's going to be a counselor every year. There's going to be one student athlete that's going to get into their heart, and they'll try to save the planet with that one.
That's right.
That one could very well be actually 5 or 10 or 15. But you see what I'm saying? But for the masses, input is going to equal output.
That's right.
If that counselor hadn't seen you walk through that door in 3 years, it's going to be hard pressed. And that counselor is not keen on being abreast of how to get an academic kid qualified under, and understanding how to finagle the way around it to get them right. There's one guy that I know, I'm not saying there's only one, but there's one that I know in this city that's at a public school that's very, very good.
You can't say it because people are going to think you're recruiting. Better be careful. I already know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
He's a master at it.
Master.
Mr. Dooley.
Yeah, Robert
Mr. Dooley. Mr. Dooley.
And that's Mr. Dooley at Yates High School.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, he's good. Here's how I know he's good. I was with a college coach this past weekend, and it flew in town. And, college coaches fly in town all the time, guys, but he went by Yates, and he met Dooley. Didn't know him. Didn't know none of the kids at Yates. He didn't go there, he didn't come to Houston to recruit. Yeah, he was on recruit for other business. I'm in town, I bought a plane ticket already. Who has a practice in the late afternoon? Lo and behold, Yates did practice from 3 to 5 or something. So he went by there and he came back and the coach told me, he said, man, he said, that guy, Mr. Dooley, is very freaking good.
That's right.
Yeah, he's good people, man. He said, no, man. He said, Hicks, I've been around the country. I only met this guy and talked to him about 30, 40 minutes. He said, this dude is really good. I say, yeah, man, it's like that. And if guys like Mr. Dooley, that's what I say about solutions. If I can go and motivate Mr. Dooley and make him understand for his time and effort, he can do a workshop.
That's right.
In the summer and invite some of the other counselors from some of the other schools, his peers, and be able to give this. Or invite some of the parents. But if the parents come, then guess what's going to happen? They're going to think it's a recruiting tactic
for Yates. That's what I'm saying. And Jimmy, here's the thing. We helped Mr. Dooley. We helped Mr. Dooley put this thing in motion. Now, he is running on all cylinders now. He don't need none of us no more. But we had to go in and be like, hey, man, we got to change this. There's people at Wheatley. I forget her name now, who was the registrar at Wheatley, and Deborah Hundley over there. They did a great job at Wheatley helping these kids. Josh Gray is in the NBA right now, would not be in the NBA if it wasn't for those people. And I'm going to tell y'all guys, in our neighborhood, we need a little extra. I'm sorry, Hatter. You from Memphis, Hatter. You know what I'm talking about. We got to wrestle them. But we got to wrestle them to understand. And I'm going to tell you another bit misnomer that people make. Well, the counselor's taking care of that. They can pick his classes. That's their job. Let me tell you something. No, it's not. That's your child. Know what your child needs. Know what the 16 core means. See, I don't like giving everybody the answers. I like people to go do research. 16 core classes. Google 16 core. Yeah, go to NCAA.org. But Jimmy, it's free information.
But Chris, a lot of people don't. That stuff is really, if you really don't know, that stuff is intimidating.
It might be intimidating, Jimmy, but they at least got to try. I know one thing, Hatter, if they wanted a Mercedes, they go try to find out. They'll go to car.com and try to find that Mercedes. If they want tickets to the Rockets game, they'll go to Flash Seats, they'll go to this site and that site to try to negotiate the prices. They'll figure that out. If they're trying to get tickets to go to Vegas, they'll go to Southwest, they go to Orbitz, they go to Kayak, they'll figure that out. So if it's your child matters to you, figure that part out too. How about that?
Hey, Chris, hey, Jimmy, did you see what Chuck McGowan said? Can the Chop Shop
read what he says, Adam?
Can the Chop Shop host a seminar for the masses, parents, school, faculty, high schools, club coaches? A lot of people just don't have a clue about these things. And Jimmy, I know you did it in the past, and
they had a Kobe before he left the NCAA. He used to do it all the time, fly around the country.
Yeah,
Kobe Baker.
Yeah,
Kobe Baker. Yeah,
yes. I brought Kobe. He came to Houston. I introduced him to the and set up him to speak to the Houston Area Basketball Coaches Association. And but keep going, Hal.
Jimmy, I don't mind putting my time and my resources, but if y'all got to support it and come, parents, that's my only thing. That I have a party and all dressed up and then got a ballroom and then pay for space and then pay for this, and y'all got y'all nappy head behinds at home. I'm gonna have a problem with that, because I remember Jimmy giving some stuff, like, it was a long time ago, because it was I think we had VHS back then. It was foggy, but we in a new age now that we can, we in positions to do stuff like that, but we don't want to be the only ones there. One of the most informative things I've ever been to is when I don't know who did it. Chris Walker and them gave a thing with out at the hotel on the north side. They had John Lucas speaking, they had Ed Pinckney speaking. I was blown away about the stuff that I didn't know. I wish it's a lot of this stuff I wish I'd have known when I was a parent and had a son. I was just blessed to just had a son that said, man, you ain't got to worry about me. I'm going to get straight A's. And we had this thing worked out no matter what. But everybody don't have that kind of advantage. So, Jimmy, I mean, I know you're hard on this one. And I know Chris hard on this one. Y'all got to, some kind of way, y'all got to email or let us know, is this something that y'all want? We're not going to do it just the pup. That guy in the middle, he just told you he get paid $100 an hour to do this stuff.
Let me tell you something. The way y'all took that 18-wheeler down to, where did y'all take the 18-wheeler?
Beaumont. Yeah.
Beaumont. Yeah. This is the way I feel about our kids missing out on education. It's the same thing to me. We're missing out on something that's a fundamental practice that Byron Allen is telling y'all. Education is the way. Something that we fought for years ago. Yeah. And because of our athletic ability, we're putting positions where we can attain it. And we're just like Beyonce, God given her the ability to sing and dance. She's like, nah, God, I got this. I got this, God. Don't worry about it. I got this. Huh? I'm going to get you singing and dancing, and you're going to be like, you don't need me?
It's unique.
It's unbelievable, man.
It's unique, and I probably said this before, but it's three things, Jimmy, that when I was a young guy and became aware. When I watched Roots, I'll never forget it, Jimmy. I watched Roots, and when I was young, and I saw where they were going to kill these people if they knew how to read. That's why I always read. That's why it's 1 million books around me in my house, wherever I'm at. So 1 million books. So then, Jimmy, when I got a little older, still in school, Jimmy, I played tennis in high school, right? Guess why? Because I read where they didn't want us to play tennis. They wouldn't let Arthur Ashe. They didn't let Athalia Gibson. They didn't let these guys. So guess what I said? I wanted to be the best at something. I said, it's got to be something about this. Reading, they'll kill you if they find out you read. They didn't want you to play tennis. So guess what? Then I learned about this game called golf. Then I found out it was a Caucasian rule in the golf magazine. You had to be a Caucasian male to play golf on the PGA Tour. That's why I got proficient at golf. Whenever people always said that what I couldn't do or what we couldn't do, I got proficient at. And that's what if I leave nothing with y'all, and everybody might not like golf, that was just my thing. And I would just like Chris and Jimmy, if y'all know our email address, chopshophtx@gmail. Jimmy, if we get enough interest, we'll make it happen for you. But we got to get the interest. Jimmy?
Yeah. And that's the thing. And of course, Larry Sowers just joined. He says the Lampkin Experience hosted one last summer. Coach Angela Williams, who's a great friend of the Chop Shop, she's the head women's track coach at Prairie View A&M. She spoke to a bunch of people and gave a lot of valuable info and student athletes getting and becoming academically eligible. Nobody sent their kids because they thought it was for only Houston Defenders kids, and we would recruit them. It was free, and we gave backpacks with school supply. See, that's the thing where you got to get smart. That's why,
awesome, Larry.
And I totally believe that.
Awesome, Larry.
That's why you have in doing so, you have to be smart enough and wisen up and eliminate the excuse with this stuff. Absolutely right. If back in the days there were certain things, I remember Hal Pashner gave a league with the Houston Hoops, and they gave a league. Hell, wasn't guys going to? They had camps going on. Terrell Henderson was running the camps. People wasn't going to send their kids to Terrell Henderson so he can run the camp, and the next thing you know, your star kid's going to be wearing Houston. That's how it is when you're the competition.
Okay.
So you have to find so what are ways that you can get around that? Well, rally and get the opposition to join forces for this common goal. If it's only about the kids, mind you, if it's about the kids, then you should have no problem reaching across the road and saying, Team Harden, or you guys want to come and put your face and stand and sit on this side of the auditorium alongside us. And that way it's what they call a bipartisan project. If it's the government.
Right.
Think about it. That's the way it is in government. That's the word. So why can't it be a tripartisan project?
But can I say this too, Jimmy? If I'm a parent, I'm just telling you right now, if I'm a parent, I don't give a damn who's giving the event, because the people you sitting with may be the worst enemy of your situation. I'm just telling you. The people you sitting with promising you a scholarship and all that other stuff and promise you they know what's going on. I don't want to chop up any programs, but I know a program that was banging about right when I was doing my program. It was Texas Boys Athletic Club, and they had all the players, and now one of them maybe one of them playing in college right now. But they were on fire, and everybody was talking about them. I was like, yeah, but none of these guys have good grades. But they playing on a circuit everywhere, and they're posting on Instagram, but they're ineligible. And they need waivers, and they need this, and they got adults that have degrees around them. I'm just telling you, man, people need to pay attention. Like, they're chasing the wrong thing. Everybody's not going to be Justice Winslow, Hatter. I'm just telling you, everybody's not going to be Kelly Oubre. Right. We need to stop that madness, but we need the guys with diplomas that could come back and teach these kids in the community that could come back to H-Town and run for city council. Kids that play sports. We all play sports, and look what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I'll never give what Byron Allen said. Byron Allen said something that's key. He says, I don't want the other culture controlling every image that I see on television. That's why I do what I do. And what we needed with the Chop Shop is we're controlling the images and the message that's emanating from this broadcast right now.
Hallelujah.
Period.
Hey,
Hallelujah.
Man, thanks a bunch for you guys. Definitely follow the
comments. I know we're about to end. I want to shout out to some young women from the Grambling State volleyball team. They participated. They came to church. They came to my church yesterday. All of them. Miss Johnson, the coach. They played, I think, Texas Prairie View yesterday, but they played 6 o'clock tonight. They're gonna play against TSU tonight. And I just wanted to I told them I was gonna give them a shout out to Grambling's volleyball team. They played Texas Southern tonight. So I know we're about to get off. I want to give them a shout out.
And I also want to give you guys news, high school news. Early this morning, former Decaney High School star, who's now at Duncanville High School, MVP of the Class 6A state basketball championship this past March, Micah Peavy, has committed to Texas Tech University. And so he will join his former high school teammate, Jamias Ramsey, who's now a freshman with the Red Raiders. And so that is a great thing. And of course, a great pickup for Texas Tech in doing so. So shout out to Micah Peavy and he's currently ranked number 32 in the nation by ESPN among the class of 2020. Shout out to the Peavy family and for getting that done. We'll be up in Dallas in a couple of weeks for the Thanksgiving Hoop Fest, whereas it will feature Duncanville High School playing against Montverde and also against what's the name of the school up in California? LeBron and Dwayne Wade. Sierra Canyon High School. So I want to give a shout out to them and got that off the books as well. Also, Chris, make sure you reach out to Cecil and help educate parents and him about the old 48H forms. This stuff is very, very important, guys. And once you get it, pass it on to somebody else. And that's how the information becomes very, very utilized. If you pass it on, stuff that needs to be passed on. Don't be a hoarder of information that's not merely that designed just for you. This is to help the community. So pass it on. Put your thumb in the water hose every now and then and watch what they're doing, sprinkling on the grass. Don't just let the water hose run like that. Put your thumb in there. Let it go. Anyway, as you're going, let it go. Speaking of that, hey, it's time to yabba dabba do this.
No, it ain't. It's time for them Dallas Cowboys. Everybody go get that star, get your cup with the star on it like that, and get ready to party because it's Monday Fun Day. The Cowboys are playing on Monday night.
I'm on your side tonight, boss. I'm on your side tonight, boss.
Monday Fun Day.
I don't want the Giants to win nothing, even against the
It's
Cowgirls.
Monday Fun Day. My boy Dak, my boy Zeke, we about to get it on. Man, I got to go on that, though, man. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow.
I'll see y'all later.
Ciao, ciao.